assuming that this prospect has come into the funnel and we work with them to understand their needs and really put together a scope of work that's going to help, satisfy those needs. Let's talk a little bit about like customer success, like taking it from, I know you probably deal with this a lot, where you're dealing with a new prospect, you're turning them into a client. Now you have to hand them off to your team to, fulfill. What does that look like with your agency, and how do you approach, that successful handoff so that whomever you're handing it off to is actually going to fulfill all of the things that you've promised?
Yeah, so that's actually interesting that you asked that, because it has been refined and refined over several years. So I take very thorough notes and put them in my CRM so that they're there. And I tag our project manager or whomever I know will be working on the account so that they're there and they can read them or not beforehand, but everything's in there for them to see. And after we have a completed statement of work, then I meet with the project manager and we just walk through what exactly is it I sold, because we sell similar things, right? But there's nuances to everybody. And we really talk through not just the project, but then the people side of it too, because they're going to be in charge of managing the relationship, making sure that we're hitting milestones, making sure that our team understands what's important to this client, because what's important to, client A may not be important to client B. And so when they're having conversations after the handoff, they're already aware, like, we know that this was really important to you, and so we're going to spend a little more time here, or let's talk about that more at the client kickoff. So I have a one-on-one with the project manager to kind of do that high-level handoff, and we start to schedule out all the work. And then we have a second meeting with our team. So then it's me, the project manager, and then any of the team who's working on the project. And that's really the time to say, what haven't I asked yet? What am I missing? What do you need to do your job well? Are there any roadblocks? Here's the schedule for when we see this work being completed. How can we make sure that we're prepared to do this work well for the client? And then we go through, our designers, our developers, our people who are working on our HubSpot automations, our copywriters, and everybody gets to say, hey, Amanda, it'd be really nice if they gave us this in advance, or, they sent over this thing. Can we get another one of those? Or who should our technical connection be for this part? And taking all of that information, and then as we're getting ready to do our client kickoff meeting, we send over our questions in advance. And then in our slide deck, when we have that first, it'll be my team and me handing off and meeting with the client. And then I cover the first part of reiterating, here's what we sold, here's what that looks like, meet my team, here's what we do. But then we have a slide of unknowns or things that we're still waiting on. And all of that comes from having really good communication with my team and them also trusting and being comfortable to tell me, like, hey, you didn't ask this question, or it's great that they have, 3 kids and they're going on vacation next week, but we need access to this file, Amanda. I'm like, oh, shoot. Yeah, let me get that for you. But having a process in place that asks the questions up front. And originally, when I came into this role and started, I had never worked in sales before. I had never worked in marketing before. And so everything was brand new. And so through doing it, I kept asking questions. And that's really where I learned what needs to be in the process to ask the right questions. And then even when you think you've asked all the right questions, there's still probably something missing.
Yes. Well, I love that you are so thorough. And I would say, from my experience, it seems more thorough than most agencies. I think a lot of agencies are so quickly moving on to the next sale that they're just throwing their projects to people, and people in the back room are like, yet again, I have no idea what we're doing.
But that's where you get those inefficiencies. So when we look at the team and we say, okay, we quoted this work, why are we over budget, or why are we, why are the profit margins not there? how are other agencies doing this work and able to make money and have, high level
Here's
employees? This is not an industry with, minimum wage employees. We have
yeah,
very skilled, talented staff, and we
yeah,
need to make sure that we keep them, which means that we need to make sure that we get the work through and we don't go over budget, that we
yeah.
do valuable work for our clients, but that we're also very mindful that
Mhm.
our hours need to be spent on the work and it needs to get done. And how can I do my
Yeah.
part to make sure that they have what they need so that they can stay on time?